Ready? Let's do it! so quiet in here.
How's everyone doing out there on the internet land? We're here with I got Jared and Kyle beside me.
I got Kyle and Dave. Whoa, hold on.
Yeah, you're seeing doubles here.
Kyle, you got to take off your jacket, man, so people can see the beauty of Fred Rogers.
Just gonna move my microphone quickly.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
While he's doing
Because there he is,
the man. The man.
You're all special in your own way. Isn't that great?
You got to take off your sweater, and you got to put on your slippers. This is part
You're
of...
right.
Yeah.
I should put on the sweater then.
Wait, put on the sweater.
Yeah,
take
on the
off
sweater.
I'll put it back on then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We're talking drums. We're talking electronic
we're talking
drums
Fred Rogers.
today. And after we're talking about Fred Rogers. Huge shout out to all you Drumeos watching. Jay Banks says, Jared, don't quit your day job. Stick to drums. He saw you dancing.
Well, come on.
He didn't say anything about me.
Admitted. Well, come on. You suck at dancing more than me.
I can cut a rug, man.
We'll have a dance-off at the end of this.
Oh, you're on.
And I'll absolutely crush you.
You're going to crush me at
The internet will speak.
Gino says hello. How's it going? Steve-O, how you doing in there? Drummer Lady 62 says awesome stuff. And
Nice.
everyone out in YouTube land, Thomas, Skyler, Mr. A,
Mr. A
driver.
says, what track is I playing to? That track is called Wicked off of the DTX module.
Cool.
WWE News is watching us right now. World Wrestling.
Wait a minute.
Foundation?
Isn't Vince McMahon like one of the guys that's gonna like restart the economy?
Yeah,
It's pretty
he's-
cool.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of it.
gonna be great.
He's
So-
going to be crucial.
So
Yeah.
what are we? Stop talking about Vince McMahon
Sorry.
and Fred Rogers. What are we talking about, Kyle? This is Kyle's brainchild. He's sold drums.
Put it right on the shoulders. Come on, put it
Yeah.
right on the shoulders. We're talking about electronic drums today, and I titled this "Electronic Drums Are Drums Too" because there's a stigma around these things. This is an instrument. These are musical instruments, and they need to be treated that way. And a lot of folks out there say, "Hey, I've got an electronic drum set, and there's no lessons for electronic drums." And there's, what do I do? I can't. It's not the same as acoustic drums. It doesn't play like acoustic drums. But there are more electronic drummers out there now than there are acoustic drummers.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I know that more electronic drums are sold.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for certain there are more electronic drummers, but one thing that really kind of irks me is a lot of drummers will get an electronic kit and then they'll post online, hey, I have the Alesis or Yamaha, Roland or ATV kit. I'm looking for some lessons. Will these lessons work, or will this work? Can I do this? And everyone just says, get an acoustic drum set. I
Right.
hate that. I can't stand that. So I like this title a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you brought this up.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's just to kind of dispel that stigma that electronic drums seem to have. We have electric guitars and acoustic guitars. They have different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
We have acoustic pianos and digital pianos. Same thing, different purposes.
Right.
If our world's getting, everyone's getting in smaller and smaller places, and one of the best things you can do is find a place that works for you, but you can't always bring your drums to those places.
Right.
Right. I know it sounds really, really simple to say that, but to have the opportunity to play your drums any time of day, in any place, that far outweighs, the options you have with an acoustic set a lot of times.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
This set reminds me, I took it on holidays one time to California.
Right.
That's where I learned almost all of the songs in here.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't transport anything else. I couldn't take an acoustic kit.
That's right.
I got so much practice in on this kit. And I've played a few times. I've played electric kits at gigs as well. So
Yeah, and that's another kind of key sticking point is that, I can't gig with it, right?
Yeah.
Dave and I were talking about this yesterday. I think almost every major artist we've had through in the past, 3 or 4 years, easy. All of them have an electronic component to their kit these days.
Yeah.
If not a full electronic kit, they've got triggers, they've got samples.
Yeah.
It's part of what we do. And if you are learning modern music, if you listen to anything new, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are saying, well, there's no real drumming in that stuff. But yeah, that's part of the challenge. Those are all electronic sounds.
Right.
Right? And we want to reproduce those.
Right.
But I think the key factor here is, will this do the job I need it to do if I'm going to learn the drums? Right? It comes down to that. And the answer is absolutely it will. There are differences and limitations with the field, for sure, but they're different animals, they're different instruments, right? You get different response out of an acoustic set. You get different response out of different acoustic sets, right? We all know that, right?
Right.
And you can get all of your development skills if you're learning to play the drums for the first time. All of your coordination. There's Absolutely, you can do it on an electronic set.
Right.
Your sense of dynamics, 100%.
Well,
you can
look
do
at
that.
mine. I was going to say my sense of dynamics. Here's this. I'm going to be playing very dynamic.
Sure.
Here. I'm playing soft now. Now I'm going to play really loud. Right? I see that as a problem
Absolutely.
because that's what a lot of people do. Oh, I need to play louder.
Right.
Or play louder or be louder.
Yeah.
I need to play quieter. Oh, look, I'm playing so quiet.
Your ghost notes are crazy. They're real ghosts.
The real ghost.
Yeah,
Gee,
and
does that make sense? Does it? Okay, good. Yeah.
And that's 100% it. Like, I see a lot of guys that'll play and gals play an electronic kit, and they do exactly that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, they're hitting it as hard as they possibly can, probably because they don't have it turned up loud enough.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing. Like an acoustic set, it gives you a lot back. An electronic kit only gives you back what you put into it and what you're letting it give you back. Right? So you want to make sure you have that volume set. So I always set it like if I'm playing live or if I'm doing like today, I have it set probably a little bit hotter than I would have an acoustic set, so that I know that if I'm playing it almost full out, I'm probably where I want it to be. If I hit harder though, it's getting to that point where it's too loud. So it is reacting like an acoustic set.
So let's say I was playing and I could hear myself hitting the pads through my inner monitors. Just to give everyone watching kind of like a baseline.
Sure.
Because I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate hearing the sound of rubber or stick on rubber. And so would you recommend that they try and go a little bit louder than that? Or if they, what would you say?
Honestly, the answer there is because every electronic kit, that volume is different. Like on some pads, they're really quiet. Mesh pads are really quiet. But the rubber pads, like this hi-hat, the acoustic sound. I'm going to turn the volume down for a sec.
I can hear that. Through. Yeah.
It's pretty loud, right?
That's almost like as loud as hi-hat cymbals.
That's right.
So church would buy this thinking,
That's
this is
right.
going to be way quieter. Yet they'll be blasting over the piano player with the sound of rubber.
Yeah, that's true. So how do you combat that as a player? Well, the first thing is I think the better the headphones or isolation you have, and that just goes just to have, right? You should have, your electronic kit is only ever going to sound as good as your headphones are,
Right.
or your in-ears are.
Right.
I find to combat that exact issue, because it drives me crazy too, because I could turn the kit off and just practice like in a practice kit, and I can still hear the nuance in what I'm playing, right? If I turn the volume off, right, and I'm working on,
Right.
you can hear every accent I'm playing.
Well, but now you bought a really expensive practice pad.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So with better isolation with in-ears or headphones, or a common choice is just like little earbuds with the shotgun protectors overhead, just the mufflers.
Yeah.
You then take all that sound out and only the drum kit's there, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, so just for everyone here watching, I'd love to hear do you play electric or acoustic? Number one, and number two, if you play electric, what brand of kit do you play? Yamaha, Roland, Alesis? Just let us know in the comments. Dave's going to read a few of your setups out. So be a little bit detailed if you can, because Dave is going to be watching the chat and reading some of that stuff out. Because we'd like to hear about what are you working with, because that helps us when we are talking about discussing what we're going to actually talk about. So
And to add, I'll keep an eye on that. We're going to go through a couple things. You're going to talk about some myths that everyone has about electric drum sets. We're going to talk about the advantages of the electronic drum sets, and then we're going to go into kind of choosing your own, the right kit for you.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of you out there are chatting in right now on YouTube and Drumeo, talking about what kit should I get. Maybe you want to get an electric kit. So we'll all get to that.
Yeah.
And at the end, if you have questions, I will be there and we'll answer as many as we can.
So 5 myths, Kyle. You've listed 5 myths.
The 5 myths. Well, okay, I'm going to reread my notes because I'll just make up 5 of them once if I don't do that. Okay. Well, I covered one already. E-drums aren't real drums. They absolutely are, and they have their place in the music world. They 100% do. And you should never feel ashamed at owning an electronic set. You should be proud of owning your electronic set.
Awesome.
2, I can't learn properly in e-drums. Absolutely, you can. This is, as far as structure goes, an analog of an acoustic set. It is the same thing, right? You have the same pads, the same surfaces in front of you in relatively the same places, and there's no excuse with electronic kit. You're 100% good there. I can't play shows with e-drums. Absolutely, you can. In fact, we're getting into a market now, when we are playing, that is, that you can. We're looking for smaller volume gigs all the time and smaller places to play. We want to play our drums. And this allows us ultimate volume control on a small stage, and it really opens up new markets for us, 100%. In fact, I have 3 friends that tour as drummers that play only electronic kits playing with DJs. That's their job.
Cool.
You know.
Like local guys or
Yep.
friends? Really?
Yep.
And that's just in the Vancouver
That's 3 guys in Vancouver that do
area.
it.
So I imagine that's
We
a
met
good gig
we
worldwide.
met Sean out in South Africa, a drummer who has been playing
Yeah.
for like 8-10 years. I think gets a gig every night, and all he has is a Roland electronic drum kit, and he also has an SPDS, and he triggers everything.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone that deep. Well, maybe Michael Shack.
Yeah.
But he triggers backing tracks for
Yeah.
the song. He plays in a 2-piece band
amazing.
with a singer.
He's
And
doing
I don't
everything.
think she played. Did she play guitar or piano?
No, all she did was sing.
And he triggers all the tracks, all the little
Yeah.
things. He basically is the one-man band, but the drums are the only real thing in that band. When you think about that, the
Yeah.
drums are the only real thing.
And the singing.
Oh, and the singer. Sorry.
singing
Well,
was
the
also
singers.
real.
But the fact that this guy, these 2 people are getting all the gigs because they take up such a small footprint, and they're getting more money for their time because there's only 2 people they're splitting it with.
Absolutely, and I think that's also why the drumming DJ thing works.
Yeah.
It's 2 artists playing at the same time. That's it, and they're playing these huge places. You know, Michael Shack makes that's one of his great things
Yeah.
that he does, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more myths.
Before you do that, Kevin, John says he's using a Roland TD 25 kV. Those are beautiful drum sets.
Yeah.
Ted's rocking a TD3, which is great. Andrew's got the TD17. And we do have Malcolm Baker, who's rocking a Yamaha DTX 582, and he loves it.
A 582.
Yeah.
Is that the?
That's the most upgraded 5 Series. So it's got the hi-hat, it's got that hi-hat controller, and I think
Yeah.
it's got a nicer ride cymbal. And it's
Okay.
all small silicone pads on a 500 module.
Yeah,
Cool.
Freed by Grace says I play on a Roland TD11 and started with an Alesis DM10.
Oh, nice. The DM10's a great module.
Yeah, and Gino's using acoustic kit, but he's using the EAD10, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, myth number
Anybody
2.
out there got some old school electronic kits? Tell us about those. I want to hear if anyone's got like an old original Yamaha, like DT Express or like Roland, any of the TR 5 or 7s. Let me know if you got one. I want to know if someone's still playing those. Okay, 2 more myths. They're way too expensive. Electronic drums are way too expensive. Totally 100% false.
Yeah.
The electronic market has gotten so good at finding price points now that you look at a basic beginner 5-piece acoustic set and a basic 5-piece electronic kit, they're roughly the same price. And, excuse me, the ultimate benefit of the electronic kit's actually a lot higher than the acoustic set because you can play along with stuff and all the features it has, right? But there's across the gamut, like the Roland flagship kit, sure, it's $10,000. So is a really nice drum set. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, you can spend 100,000.
Sure, go for it, right? In fact, acoustic sets are way more expensive if you really want to do that. And then, of course, my favorite one is, why would I buy something that's going to go obsolete? My acoustic drums will never be obsolete. Yes and no. Acoustic drums don't go obsolete, but they sure go out of style quick,
Yeah. Well,
right? And
yeah.
that's a big thing. Like, you know,
The companies innovate more on the finishes, the depth of the toms as like trends shift when it comes to music, because once you have a round piece of wood, you
That's right.
screw a couple of pieces of metal on it. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying it because there's some great drum builders, but what else is there?
exactly right. But because we really believe that.
Yeah.
And we really buy into that. And it's I should probably get something. I got these big power toms from the 80s. I should probably get something smaller.
Yeah.
Well, there's your second or third or fourth drum kit, right?
Yeah, which is why we end up with 40 or 50 kits.
Yes, we do.
I'm all for all that stuff.
and with electronic kits, here's the thing. We're at a point now with electronic kits where everything is good.
Right.
And because of that, yeah, sure, eventually you might want to get another one or upgrade down the road, but they're going to last you 10, 12, 15 years, no problem. If you look after it just like anything else, right? If you drop your iPhone all day long and it breaks, it's going to break. If you beat on your electronic kit and never be kind to it, it might have some problems. But
Noah in the YouTube chat says, I have a Simmons SD600.
Ah, Simmons.
Brainslav, it says, I am on a budget Alesis Nitro mesh kit.
great kit.
Great kit. Like there's a ton of value you get from that. Now that everyone's allowed to use mesh pads, now they're coming out everywhere and they're dropping the price down, right?
Yep.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
DTX Express 4. That's David. B.
Nice.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
And let's see here. There's one more. Box 2.
2-box.
2-box.
Those are awesome kits.
Yeah, those are great. The D-Drum made one as well. There was a couple of people mentioning the D-Drum 4, I believe, Brain 4, something like that.
The 2-box guys are actually old D-Drum guys.
Right. Okay,
let's play a few more songs. And let's move to the next section because we're going to talk about e-kit advantages next. But before that, I think we should just hit them a little bit more and show. Yeah, I like to go through the tracks because as you go through the tracks, it cycles the kit sounds, and then you kind of get a feel for how everything is sounding. And I think a lot of the sounds on the Yamaha are similar when it even comes to the lower end stuff.
They are actually, yeah.
They are similar. Okay, let's give it a whirl. This is called Cool Funk. It's song number 15. I talked to the hit start at the same time as I play because I don't want to do the metronome.
Good luck.
Maybe I'll just get the tempo.
Dynamic fade out.
That's great. Jared's playing away. You're all watching that. Dave and I are just chatting about like our favorite wines and stuff, and we're talking in a normal volume. It was like nothing was happening.
Kyle, everyone knows you don't drink.
That's why I was talking to him about it. I want to know about wine.
You're not stabbing the ear holes of the people. Is that what you said?
That's true. Yes.
Bill had something really cool in the chat. He says, I plug my laptop into my TD30 drum module and I play along to Drumeo lessons. I pipe the sound through my amps or headphones. It's a great way to learn using Drumeo with the play-alongs and all the lessons. That's another great feature of the electronic kit. So I see a lot of drummers have their iPads, their phones, their laptops there, and now it's like you can play along with Eric Moore and all these other cats that we've had on here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. Is there any more myths? Did we miss a couple myths?
No, I think we covered the myths. We actually, because we kind of teased a couple of them, so I covered them for sure.
All right, myths
I can make
busted.
more.
No, don't make any more. Okay, so what are some of the advantages then?
Well, actually, you just brought up a great one. And that's one I like to talk about all the time. It's like when you've got an electronic kit, it's so easy to immerse yourself into something you're working in. You were just playing along to a track, you can hear the entire kit comfortably. Yeah. You didn't need to get yourself some microphones. You're not running an EAD. You can blend everything exactly how you want to hear it, and it takes you no time at all.
Yeah.
Right? You plug your phone or your laptop or your tablet right into the... Every kit now has an auxiliary input. You can just blend it right in the module. Off you go. You're running Drumeo, same thing. Run the audio right in, and you're like right there. If you're playing along to a drumless track, you're hearing your performance right then and there.
Or if you're playing along, we have all the interactive sheet music. If someone's playing along to that, everything is just happening right there inside of the lesson or inside of using the interactive sheet music.
Yeah, you're not struggling over top of the sound of your drum kit or trying to balance that out, right? That's cool too, but it's with the electronics, it's so easy to just get that mix right off the bat.
Right.
You're not setting up, you're just playing. All right, another great one is different sounds for different styles, right? Every electronic kit has a bunch of different kit choices. There's all kinds of fun stuff. A lot of them have cartoon sounds or fart noises or whatever. Those are fun too, right? They're creative, they're interesting. They open up a whole new world for you.
Fart noises? I haven't heard those.
Oh, yes. I've got a set. I'll give it to you. It opens up a whole new sort of thing for you because you can actually dial up those different sounds if you're playing an old Nashville country song and this really kind of bushy snare drum.
Yeah.
And you can get that different sound and it will change the way you play.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people that buy electronic kits never really explore those things.
Right.
And it's really an advantage to do it because you can kind of customize those things, have 3 or 4 favorite kits, and you can play them. We have acoustic sets, we do the same thing. We just keep buying drum sets. But
Well, this drum set allows you to actually tune it. I can turn the snares off just with this knob. That's my high tom. This is my mid tom. There we go. So easy to customize.
Exactly. You've got, as I was saying, awesome integration with your phone and mobile device. I mean, it's great. Some units also have Bluetooth now. The Roland TD17, everything up from the L model has Bluetooth connectivity. So does the TD27.
Is there latency with that?
Nope.
How
No,
do they
because it's
do
Bluetooth audio, just Bluetooth audio.
So sorry. So the kit, you turn on the module, you connect your phone to the module via Bluetooth, and you're able to adjust things on that?
No, it's just for audio.
So you can play along without having to plug your phone in. Stream play along, stream lessons and stuff without.
Yeah, anything you're doing, and that's actually another great point, is a lot of the modules now have apps for them, so you can actually expand them. Like Yamaha's 400 series module has no screen, it's just buttons and lights. It's really cool, it's actually very intuitive, but a lot of people I miss a screen. So what Yamaha did is they designed it so you can plug your phone into the module, and actually if you install the app, it gives you a whole touchscreen option, gives you everything inside that module if you like to have that sort of tactile thing. It's awesome for that.
That is the future because how much technology is inside of this box.
That's right.
That could just be inside of this in a software application accessed on the cloud.
Oh yeah.
Sarvagya in the Drumeo chat had a disadvantage. Says
Let's
one disadvantage is you always need power to play. I don't know. You can turn that off and still play it, but I get what he's saying.
Yes, that's true. We have yet to. I don't think anyone's making a battery-powered electronic kit yet.
Well, you could get a generator.
Yeah, but then you need gasoline.
If your drumming doesn't annoy the neighbors, the generator will. But the thing is that how many of you have a drum set in a room without any power anyway? Is that really an issue? I mean, very few have a woodshed that literally isn't powered up.
Or the question is, when the power goes out, do you play drum solos? I guess that's the thing. It's
yes.
I got nothing else to do.
I always did, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I lived on a farm growing up, and the power would go out. It seemed like once a week.
Yeah.
I just go play drums.
Who's been on a gig where the power went out?
Oh, I have.
What's the first thing the audience says?
Drum solo!
Yeah, it's true.
And you're like, shoot. No.
We're playing a ballad! Stop it!
He's got an acoustic guitar.
You should be worried about getting out of the building. All right, a couple more here for you for advantages.
All right.
I put integrated coaching features. This is a great one. Pretty much every module on the market, actually with the exception of the ATV, because this is more of a pro model and it's designed to do this. But all of the commercial ones from Yamaha, Alesis, Roland, and a few others as well. I can't think, is it Millennium? The ones, if anyone's in the chat that's in Europe, Thoman's house brand, I think it's called Millennium. They also have this. Simmons, of course. Those coaching features are awesome because you can have like accelerated click tracks, which is really a great exercise if you're working on a pattern. Say you're working on a Drumeo challenge and you want something where you're actually increasing the speed and decreasing it while you're working on it to help your control and your sense of time. The module will actually be that for you. You can set it to do that. It's got parameters, it's got things it'll do. It's great.
Yeah. What about, I know you're kind of into a format here, but I'm just going to ask the question anyway.
There's no format.
I know some like of the lower end kits that a lot of people recommend, like the $400 to $700 range. Mm-hmm. A lot of drummers will buy them, and then I'll sit down and they're like, oh, check it out. And I'll start like doing like a snare roll. Something like that. And this one I think is picking up most of the notes, but generally what ends up happening is this. Sounds like it don't capture all the notes, and so what would you say to those kits, and how would a new drummer test that?
Great question.
Because they don't even know, they can't even do that.
You're right.
They're going to be able to do
right.
that in a couple weeks if they sign up for Drumeo.
You're right, exactly. I think that's within 3 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, the nice thing is now, we're at a point now where pretty much every electronic kit out of the box is pretty close.
Really?
I just did, we reviewed, I don't know, 6, 7 drum kits, and I purposely plugged them in and played them just to see how they were. So I don't like anything I have to tweak out of the box. I want everything to work. Yeah. And I was shocked at they just work. Part of that has to do with actual physical design, because the better they get at designing the racks and the pads, the problem you're talking about, a lot of the times the issue is the vibration that you're creating when you're playing that, and the module thinks you're playing other pads, so it tells the snare not to play. It says, hey, whoa,
really?
That's a vibration through the rack, stop that. Yeah.
Even on a low-end kit?
Absolutely. They all have some degree of mask time options, they have sensitivity options, they can all be adjusted. Yeah, I was playing on a 4 Series Yamaha and doing it, and it's like, I didn't have to change it.
No, I think Yamaha and the main companies are pretty good about this because they road test their products more. But there's a lot of off brands of these kits, and I've played some of them that are just, I'm not going to name them.
No, you're right.
Just absolute trash.
That's actually why I recommend.
Just trash.
Yeah, that's actually why I always recommend, if you can and you have the means, stick to the main brands. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. It costs a lot of money to develop something that is sensitive enough to go, right? Or, I'm walloping something that's supposed to take a beating repeatedly with a piece of wood.
Yeah.
And it's got to be super quiet. Like that is, you give an engineer that job and they're like, I'm out. That can't be done, right? Yeah. So what ends up happening is, the problem with those inexpensive kits is they're as close as they can get in the price range they cost. But where they change those things and they kind of cut their corners, it's the racks a lot of times, it's the connections, and it's those problems that you can't work around. There's just so much vibration in the kit, you cannot, and the module doesn't have enough options, you can't get past it.
So what does a student do? Because I know I can't say for sure, but I would guess that around half of the electronic kits sold are probably off-brand, low-end.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people likely watching this now or will watch it at some point, and they're like, yes, that's my issue. What do they do? Just call
number one,
1-800-GOT-JUNK?
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Yes.
What I always used to tell people is, if you can play the different side of your kit and it's time to upgrade, look at doing that. Okay,
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Maybe you don't want to do that, and like, I can't do that. That's not an option. I got to make this kit work for me. Okay, if that's the case, if you haven't done this, and I guarantee you most people have not done this, read the manual, learn how your module works. No, I know.
Not gonna read the manual.
I know. I know. Get a friend to read the manual to you,
There you go.
while you're relaxing. But honestly, there are a lot of things. It's just like on your phone. You customize your phone. You customize your computer to do what you want it to do when you want it to do it. Even those inexpensive kits have a degree of those options, and you can usually find a solution that'll work.
Yeah.
The other key factor is with those, if you've got one of those like Univox kits or, there's a lot of them, you're right.
Yeah.
the nice thing is most of those come out of the same couple of places.
Oh, I know. It's just someone slapping their
Yes.
brand on it, which is, I don't know why anyone would want to put their brand
I
on
know.
that.
Jeez, Jerry, tell us what you really feel.
Yeah, right. Make sure the rack is stable and tight, and make sure all the pads are assembled, because that actually does make a difference, big time.
Yeah.
And yeah, be careful when you're tightening clamps on those racks, because if they've used thinner or inexpensive plastic, they are very delicate.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
so
you have to be careful.
Question from Philip here: don't buy cheap brands, just don't. Well, is there a price threshold then? Like what?
It's not
would be-
price specific, man, because
No, it really isn't.
in my experience, it's not. But
That I agree with you, but now where we are in the market now, you're pretty safe with anything any of the major companies put out, and they're at a price range that's very comparable. Like sub $500 Canadian, so US that's about $4 usually. I think $425, $450.
now it's like 200.
Yeah. Is kind of where that breaking point is. Yamaha and Alesis both have products in that $500 mark, which are excellent. They really, really are. And my dad gave me some advice, and I'll share this with you right now. My dad always says, buy right, cry once.
Right. Yeah.
And it does make a difference. You have the same problems if you buy a $300 acoustic set. Trust me.
Yeah.
The cymbals are no good. The heads are no
Yeah.
good. The hardware breaks. It's the same thing.
And if you have one of those kits right
point.
now and you're frustrated, you can really easy convert it to a practice pad kit. You just unplug it and throw away the AC power, and you're good to go.
It's true.
It's not wrong. I used a practice pad or an electric kit for a practice pad
Yeah.
kit for over a year. It was great. Never plugged it in once.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I mean that's a great B option for you for sure, right? So but
So the trusted
it's
brands.
better than we're in a much better place right now. The three big ones, and that's the truth. It costs a lot to design these things, and that's why those companies have the longevity and the support in those products. The other key factor here is product support. If you have an Alesis kit, a Yamaha kit, or a Roland kit, and you have a problem, you have access to parts, to help, to all those things. Much easier, and you're really not spending much more money.
Yeah.
So what are the
Yeah.
the 3 or 4 brands that you would be okay with
How do
recommending?
you know the exact question I was going to ask?
Because I was starting to ask it, then you heard me
See,
ask it.
if you were both listening, I just mentioned like 3 of them.
No, well, obviously Yamaha, obviously Roland,
Roland.
and then it's Alesis the third.
And Alesis is one of those things. I mean, I've worked with a lot of their kits, and they've spent a lot of time. They've
What
really
this?
focused their energy on it.
ATV.
ATV makes a great product. They don't really have anything in that lower price range. So
Oh, so this is just the higher end.
yeah, because you'll find a lot of that. There's companies that make like the OEM stuff. You've got the 3 big ones, and then you have like 2-box, ATV,
Yeah.
D-Drum, a few others that have higher end products that are primarily focused at the pro market and just the pro market.
Yeah.
So they don't even bother with the less expensive parts because they wanted to develop one thing really, really well. That's kind
Right.
of what the choice was.
So before we move on to the next point,
Yeah.
let's hear another tune from this ATV kit. How much would this kit cost someone to buy?
This one is in like the $3,000 to $4,000 range.
Okay.
And what you're paying for there is, well, you can see in the camera shot, this looks like a drum set.
Well, it looks like wood acoustic shells.
It is wood acoustic shells.
So you could put regular head. Not that you would.
You could.
But you could.
You could, yeah. You would defeat the quietness of the kit, but Yamaha used to make electronic kits that had real heads on them. They were just too loud. Right?
So let's hear this in action. Play us another song loop.
So Kyle,
Yeah.
just before you did it, like before when you were just tapping,
Yeah,
I was not hearing anything.
it's there.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
It's maybe just my headphones, but
One of the interesting things about playing, like this is a mesh head kit and that's a silicone kit, I find those are a little bit more realistic feeling coming back to drumsticks.
Yeah.
I find the mesh heads are a little bit bouncy. And so yeah, you do end up, I find you end up being a little more heavy-handed in the quiet stuff with the mesh heads. But it's good because you're working on your technique. I mean, my brother used to make me work on my double stroke rolls on a floor tom with the head almost falling off. He's like, keep playing until I hear all the notes. I got to hear them all, right?
Right.
And you know, it's the same kind of thing. You'll develop that sort of you actually end up getting more control of it by doing that. And you know, like I say, you don't want to overhit anything. It's the same on an acoustic set. If you can't hear yourself, turn it up.
Yeah.
But don't keep grabbing that volume knob like you were showing. That was bad advice. Bad.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. Let's see here. Thanks, fellas.
What song was that?
Blue Jacket, I saw?
Yes.
Whose play along is that?
What is that? Well, here, let's do it again. I'm kidding. Oh. Stop it. That is Stephen Chamberlain.
That's
Oh,
brilliant.
Yeah,
Is it
that's-
going in Drumeo?
It is in Drumeo.
it's Stephen Chamberlain, but that's not Stephen Chamberlain.
That is the
I'm totally blanking.
Matthew Facette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Couple questions. Let's get the questions. If you're watching live right now, submit them. I got a ton from Drumeo. Ready? I'm gonna fire them at you real fast. Here's one
Rapid
from
fire.
Narcosis. Says,
Hang on, hold on.
No.
Ready,
Okay.
coach.
Are the ATV triggers as responsive as the Roland modules as the Roland triggers?
Yes, they share the same technology.
That's right, because the guy who invented that or helped design it, he moved on to ATV, right?
Okay.
Here's one from Velcro, asks, hey, even if you buy the cheapest acoustic set, will it work? Sorry, let me read that one more time. Even if I buy the cheapest acoustic set, it will work. But what about people starting out with crappy electronic kits? Do you think they will learn to play drums wrong and have issues down the road? This is a common question.
Like forever? If someone, I would say, I'll take a first stab.
Please.
If you're just starting out, get into it with an electric kit because or whatever, because you can get something cheap, inexpensive. You figure out if this is something you love, if this is something you really want to continually invest in. I think that's the mindset that most people will take. Unless you just know, then don't go buy cheap. But if you're still unsure, then don't worry about investing $500 in a cheap kit and then upgrading in a year. You probably spend more of that on Starbucks coffee, who cares,
But
right?
the big question I think that a lot of others will have is, will I be at a hindrance if I start and only practice on it? And I get this question all the time too. Will I be worse off learning on an electric kit than an acoustic kit?
No.
No, but I will add an addendum to that if you really over time have aspirations to gig and do other things, like you do need to push past your entry level electric kit.
Yeah.
To get to the point like we were talking about Sean Noon there earlier, where that's like a pro level. Like he's doing it all electric. I don't even think he owns an acoustic kit.
No.
I'm not sure about that.
He's not. Well, that's not possible.
Okay, here's a question for follow-up from Velcro. Just said, I'm struggling the most with the hi-hat mid-open sound on my Roland TD25 kit. Perhaps the hi-hat is the toughest to replicate nuances on the electric. It absolutely is. I have yet to find even the most expensive Roland hi-hat still sucks.
Here's how you solve that problem, Velcro, 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 Velcro,
Velcro.
Velcro. It's Velcro. I know it is. All right. Here's the best solution for that. It's not super expensive. We have students now that are converting their inexpensive or unhappy hi-hat setups. If you already have a hi-hat stand in that kit, because a lot of those do, go ahead and get yourself some L80 Zildjian low volume cymbals or the Sabian quiet tones, and you get all the response you've ever wanted in the world on your electronic kit, and it works great. You can get the next step and just hang a microphone over your kit and mic it up. I have a couple of students that are doing that now, and it sounds awesome. They've got cool L80 cymbals on like a TD11 or a TD6 or any of those kits that have the older, harder pads.
Yeah.
And it's like night and day. And they said, I don't have to buy another kit. I spend a couple $100 to get the cymbals they wanted, but it makes a huge difference. And if budget's an issue, buy them one at a time. Start with the hi-hat. That's the biggest difference for sure. But it's just like if you've got an electronic kit, like a very basic one, you have a foot switch and a pad.
Yeah.
Even getting a kit that has a hi-hat controller, there's a huge difference in how that feel changes.
Yeah.
The thing I like to say is the money you spend on electronic drums, the more you spend, the closer you're getting to the reaction of a real drum set.
Yeah.
So yes, like you said, if you're just starting out, a beginner kit's great. It's just the same with an acoustic set. It's a good place to start. Yeah. Aspirations, we get better at it. You can play the difference. Time to get something nicer.
And if budget is an issue, Dave would be totally happy to loan you the money. Just text him anytime, day or night, 604-897-0199. He's handing out
low-interest loans.
Forgivable loans.
Forgivable low-interest loans. I'm not a pawnbroker here. Kevin Dillman asks, does it matter if you use male or female drum splitters when wanting to add a cymbal when all your aux and crash ports are full? That's a good question.
Yes. If you really want to know the answer to that, email me. Don't text me. Actually, no. Text Dave. Email me at krad@drumeo.com, and I can answer that specifically because it differs from every kit, and it also depends on your setup, because some can be split out to run two pads, some can't. You're usually splitting two triggers into one. Or no, sorry, one trigger into two, pardon me. So it's doable. I just need to know what you're running. I can tell you what to do.
Sarvagya says, do electronic kits come with double bass pedals?
No, but almost every one of them on the market now is capable to use one.
Yeah. Gino says, seriously, would love to see if you guys did a module on connecting, or a course basically on connecting/recording at home with video. We could consider that.
Well, sure, we'll consider it.
We do have some.
Oh, sorry.
We do have some lessons inside of Drumeo which are on that. Ad and Tumanero did a great series on recording drums on a budget. You can check that out.
And you're set up at home to record on acoustic kit? Yeah, with
yes.
the EAD. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We should maybe just switch one of us to. I don't want to switch to electric.
But they're real drums too, Jared.
We got this far, and the truth came out.
Come on,
I
man.
like electric drums, but
Copenbrow says, where do you put Simmons? They seem to be at the lower end of the releases.
Good question. So there's Simmons and then there's Simmons. And this is important to know. So Simmons was a industry leader in the 80s and early 90s. The SDS9, the SDS5, SDSX, amazing innovation at the time. They went through some financial troubles and they kind of disappeared from the markets. Simmons is now a house brand product for Guitar Center.
Simmons? Or
Simmons. Simmons.
What about
Yes, but isn't there Simmons?
There might be as well. That's
I think-
possible too. Probably an OEM brand if there is.
Yeah.
Because they're sharing up, they're using the similarity in names.
Say it, get it in,
I
Dave.
just wanted to say a joke. And then there's Richard Simmons.
And then, of course, there's Richard Simmons.
Okay.
David, if there was Atkinson E-drums, would you be a high end or a low end?
I would be mid-range, man. Always aim low and always achieve your goals.
That's a good question for everyone watching. If you were an electric brand for drums, using your last name, so mine would be like Falk Drums.
Yeah.
Falk
Electric.
Falk Electric. that sounds. Would you be a low, medium, or high end brand?
Yeah. I mean,
Kyle, would you be? Radomsky drums sounds great.
Radomsky drums would be like some
Ridiculous.
crazy, super overcomplicated, there'd be tubes in it and stuff. And they would probably have lasers.
Your drums would be like staccato.
Yeah.
Those North drums. I want to buy
There'd
some
be
of
little
those.
spinning
Yeah,
wheels
yeah, you
and
totally
a little
should.
spinning and the cuckoos and stuff happening.
the Blue Man Group would use Radomsky kits.
They totally would. They'd use at least one.
Shahir Mosin says, do you think nylon tips are good for e-kits?
Great
compared
question.
to-
No.
No?
You said short answers. No, I'm kidding. Nylon tips are not good for electronic pads, especially cymbal pads, because if you're a swiper, it will leave plastic marks on the cymbals that do not come off very easily.
I tap now.
What about those that say if you chip the tip of your wood sticks on mesh,
yeah.
they could ruin the mesh.
Absolutely. And another very important point for all of you at home that have an electronic set with a mesh pad for the kick drum. So it could be like a little one or a big one like that, or one like Jared has, silicone too, same thing in this case. Make sure you are running a plastic or hardwood beater on that pad. It is 100% important because if you put a felt beater on a mesh head, it'll destroy it in no time.
I have yet to have anyone destroy on me. I use felt pads, felt beater.
And we're back.
There's a guy.
Small commercial
Did you
break.
guys see the weatherman from?
Dude!
He's awesome. I think you posted it.
That was great.
I saw it late last night,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad you posted that in Edge.
Yeah, so he's like, he does the weather report. It's a BBC. He finishes the weather report because he's working from home, and then the BBC trailer music starts playing.
Yeah.
He's like, well, and he goes into his house and he starts playing his drums along with it and plays the whole outro. And he's like, I guess I'm doing the music now too.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. We got more questions. Do you mind if we go a little later today? This is a hot topic.
Yeah.
All right. Here's
Hot
one from
topic.
I like Hot Topic. I think I bought the
says-
shirt there.
My favorite store.
Okay, we're
And
good.
we're back.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. Here's a question
That doesn't get old.
from Paul. You don't even know how to play that song. He says, in my own experience of moving from electronic to acoustic drums, it can be a challenge. Do you agree? Is it a challenge to switch back and forth? Like-
Absolutely. Yeah. It's if you're used to one or the other, you spend a lot of time on one and not the other. Yeah, you kind of gain a tolerance for how the electronic kit feels and plays, and vice versa on an acoustic set. It's like when you play live with an electronic kit, you realize how much everybody else needs to hear your drums.
Right.
Because an acoustic set just sort of emanates like this, right? Electronic is so audio, either in-ears or monitors, it's like, wow, I need a lot of drums.
Yeah.
'Cause you're not used to
Have you ever played at a venue where they had the electronic kit behind plexiglass? I have.
That's so good.
I'm just like,
it's a mental
because
thing.
drums are loud.
Don't you just at that point be like, I'm just gonna go home? 'Cause you don't want me here.
Angel Rodriguez says, "Why are there two Daves in this lesson?" I knew that was coming. As soon as you moved your head, there you go. Now there's one Dave and one Kyle.
There's only one Dave.
There's always only one Dave.
There's only one Dave.
Only one Dave.
Okay, welcome back. Steve-O has a question. Asks, are Vic Firth E-sticks worth it?
E-sticks? What's
yeah.
the difference?
They're shaped to work on electronic kits better.
Can't even say it.
Yes, we need more stick SKUs.
Don't even get me started on that, man.
Seriously.
Let's see, what haven't we done yet?
Okay.
We have 100 different types of sticks. Do you think the community needs more options?
If we
Yes.
paint them black. Okay, Pac-Man Drums says, what if I buy an electronic set and then move to an acoustic kit? We already talked about that.
That's great.
It's the problem of switching. Don't let that get in the way from it. You know, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, the touch is going to feel a little different, but don't let that prevent you from getting electronic kit. Okay, here's another question. This one is from Mark. I'm reading this one on the fly. Hello, everyone. I have a Roland TD-17, and I have problems with the hi-hat sound. When I hit the hi-hat and open it, just won't get the sound I know from my acoustic kit. Do I have to play the hi-hat different than I do when I play my hi-hats on the acoustic kit?
Yeah, a little bit. You do get used to it. It becomes second nature after a while, and you kind of learn kind of how the trigger reacts. Again, check the settings on that. You can adjust that. On a 17, you have some choices. You don't have all the choices. You have some choices. You don't have the same pressure sensitivity you have on some kits. It's really not the end of the world. If you focus on what it can do and work with those things, you'll actually have a lot more fun with it. And it's just a matter of making sure that open and closed happens where you like it, where it feels right to you, and it'll be okay. Again, if you want to take it to that next level, even think about switching, maybe go into some real, like the quiet volume hi-hats.
On an acoustic kit, you get a different set of hi-hats. You have to change the way you hit them.
Absolutely.
You get a new cymbal, you have to change the way you hit it. Like, that's this common. With any instrument, there's nothing wrong with it if you having to make adjustments. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I used to play on a TD6 at my old church, and there were some triggers that were just literally dying, and I knew where to hit on that cymbal to hit it every time. So you have to adjust. I played that kit differently because I knew where it was inefficient. And
hey, as a pro, you play backline drum sets all the time. They're not your cymbals. You don't like how they sound, maybe.
Yeah.
You just adjust your playing.
Yeah. Jay Castellone says, is it worth to upgrade my module from the 11 to the 17? That's a good one.
It depends, because you're spending usually a big chunk of money to get just the module. You can do that, and that module is great. So that's a great idea. All the pads you have will work with it, so that's awesome. Yeah, if you want all the advantages of the 17, you can, but you have to decide at that point, what's the module worth? Probably, I don't know, $700-800. Maybe look at going into a new kit at that point, because you double that money, you're into a new kit. Look at the 27 maybe. Another thing a lot of folks do if they've got an older module and they want better sound choices is you can run that module into a computer and trigger samples. A lot of our students are doing that now, and it is awesome because then you then have the access to all these great sound setups,
like addictive drums and all that. Yeah,
and they're open-ended, they're open source, so you're never going to run out of sounds.
Yeah,
right, and they sound great, and all of a sudden your inexpensive electronic kit sounds like $1 million.
Drummer Lady 62 asks, I'm running plastic beaters on my kick drum. It leaves a residue even though it's clean. Is there any idea, do you have any idea what this may be?
It could be, there's still some friction if it's a mesh pad. If it's a mesh pad, it could be friction, and it is actually wearing away on the mesh, the fibers. It will happen. Absolutely. It's going to happen anyway, so you're hitting it.
Yeah.
There is always a little bit of friction happening there, no matter if it's plastic or felt. Plastic is just less, it doesn't heat it up as much as what the issue is. If you have a rubber pad and you have the same problem, it's just the rubber. It does the same thing. It'll kind of wear away and you'll get a bit of a detent in the pad. almost every manufacturer, rubber or mesh, those are designed to last a long time. If it's a mesh pad, all you got to do is replace that pad. They're easily accessible for pretty much every brand. If it's a rubber trigger, yes, eventually you could wear through it. I don't think I've ever seen it happen in 22 years. 22 years.
If you're gonna cut us off, at least do it the right way.
It was bad. I didn't know the song. It said Club Latin.
I think it's better if he does it that way.
I feel like I'm a daycare teacher trying to hurdle the kids in. Come on.
How's that working out for you so
Not
far?
very good. Jez10 in the chat says, at the end, can you play some examples, some of the weirder sounds that these electronics kits have?
He's going to have to do it. This one actually only has normal sounds.
That's right.
It's true.
Right. That's, okay, a couple more questions. Sorry, they keep coming in. And this is all.
Don't apologize.
This is all from the Drumeo. This is all from the. This is all. Stop it. There's some of the unique sounds. This is all from the Drumeo chat. I'm not even able to touch the public channel right now, which is just crazy. It's just nuts. So if you really want to get some of these questions answered, consider joining Drumeo.
There's thousands of people who are in the Drumeo members area. So if you're wondering why we're kind of looking in two places for those that are watching on YouTube, it's because we got to support our members who are in the community.
Yeah.
So, but we'd love it.
But if you joined, you can email me, and I don't sleep. I'll just answer everything.
Yep. Yeah, he's literally the 24-hour guy.
I really am.
Patrick says, hey, does the new Roland VAD series, are they more of an aesthetic upgrade, or is there any advantages over the classic frame E-kits?
Good question. Depends if you ask me or if you ask Roland. They play great. I played both the mesh version of that kit and the VAD version, which is it looks like this kit. In fact, we were commenting on, wow, that's awfully familiar looking. Roland has done extensive research on making those shells be very dead sounding, so that sounds really dumb, but it's true. Honestly, if you don't care about the aesthetic, don't buy that kit. It didn't play any better, I didn't think.
Right.
I mean, all the advantages is in the ride pad, the snare trigger, which are digital anyways, which play fantastic, by the way. The new cymbal pads are thinner, they play great. And I kind of prefer the mesh pads of that kit because I don't need this. I mean, I don't care if anybody knows or doesn't know I'm playing an acoustic or electric kit.
Right.
I mean, honestly, just recently, the Who were touring, and Zach Starkey was playing an electronic kit. That's like so amazing. The Who is using electronic drums, folks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and he's using electronic drumming as John Riley. Yeah. Jared's playing the DTX 900
so
model.
This sound, I don't know why Yamaha would call it this sound. This sound is called Asian. Isn't that a little bit... What did they...
Oh, it's South Asian.
Lucky you.
What do you call that tune, Jared?
I call it like something I could never ever do again.
That's improvisation number one.
Okay, last couple of questions, then we'll wrap it up. Red Rog asks, what's a reasonably priced amp to go with an electric drum kit?
Oh, good question. The thing with electronic kits, if you want a good amp, horsepower is necessary. You need a good amount of power. It doesn't have to be loud. It just needs to be able to support the low end and the high end of the kit. So Roland's, the new model is called I think it's the PM100. I think that's the latest one. That one's great. Simmons has actually a very powerful one that's not too expensive. That one's good. You're looking at probably $300 mark. Anything less expensive than that is going to sound not as desirable as you might like. going forward. And keep in mind, whenever you buy an amp for electronic drums, no matter how big of a speaker you're going to buy, an amplifier, it's still primarily going to be for you to hear it. It's never going to be enough coverage for you to play with a band. I mean, very rarely. If you can, it's tough. Everybody needs a little more immediacy to the sound because they don't have to kind of gather around you. A lot of guys tried that. It just doesn't work. I always say, if you don't need the amp, buy good headphones.
Yeah. This sound's called African. Give it to me.
I feel like I'm there.
All my rock chops.
Okay. Sahan says, I know computer and electronics. I want to make a V-drum kit, module, trigger, pad for my university project. Any tips from you awesome people? I also know YouTube page V-drum tips. Sure.
What does he want to do, sir?
Poco Askew in our chat, in our forums, he actually created his own electronic kit. So reach out to him.
Oh, wow.
You can send him a PM. You can find his contact through Scotty Eldridge or any of the moderators.
Yeah, he owned an electronics store.
That's right.
Or a chain of electronic stores, I should say. And he was very knowledgeable on electronics.
He knew his stuff. We wouldn't have any idea. Kyle might have a bit of an idea, but Poco's the guy you should reach out to if you want some help with that, because he knows quite a bit.
Post in the forums. I think a lot of our community is, they do the DIY stuff, but they also have a lot of time right now. So everyone's just chilling.
Sorry?
His own module?
He wants to build his own electronic drum kit for a school project. So you can email krad@drumeo.com. Awesome. You can also email Poco or just message him through the forums and stuff. There's probably a lot of other drummers out there that have done this project too. Mo Grooves asks, speaking of modules, can Roland module work on my Alesis kit?
Okay, yes and no. You'll get what's considered limited compatibility. The issue you run into when you cross branding modules is the hi-hat triggers have very specific ways they function and think and require the module to work. So there's often, it'll kind of work but never quite right. We have the same problem when we're trying to cross modules from an old module to a new pad, or a new pad to an old module, or vice versa, or new module to an old pad. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's really great, sometimes it's terrible. The simpler a kit is, the easier it is to do that. Most of the electronic kits out there use piezo pickups or piezo pickups. They're very, very simple transducer type pickups, so it's pretty dumb in that sense. It's really simple. You can make your own. I've done it. I made my own pads. They're super easy to make. But that only translates that kind of information. The hi-hat trigger is much more complex. This one actually uses a laser. So open close. And the new Roland ones are digital, whole other topic. So that's the thing. So you're better to try and stay with the same brand or look at ways of combining. It's always better to stay with one brand though. I've never had great success combining things.
Cool. We're going to wrap it up there. There's a lot of drummers on YouTube asking about the specific setups, threshold versus whatever the other
things, gain,
threshold, and all that, and sensitivity. Kyle has a whole series inside of Drumeo talking about not just electric kits in general, but specific models, and he breaks them down and all the features and stuff like that. So if you're a Drumeo member and you have more questions, check those out. We're releasing more. He filmed a bunch of them, and they're coming out. And if you're a YouTube watcher and you want more information, you like this stuff, go check us out on Drumeo, because we have all that content inside.
Drumeo.com/trial. You can get a free 7-day trial.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm not going to answer or ask any more questions. You guys going to do like a dual drum jam or something like that?